In the grand theater of life, we all seek a comeback, a resurgence, a rekindling of our inner fire. But how do we spark that flame? Welcome to Reignite Resilience. This is not just another podcast. This is a journey, a venture into the heart of human spirit, the power of resilience, and the art of reigniting our passions.
So you've got 4 kids and twins, and you said they get so angry with you because you like to talk to everybody. So have you noticed them kind of exhibiting kind of these same behaviors when they're out in public, or is it rubbing off?
So 3 of them are small, like one is 11 and twins are 8.
Okay.
So each of them is differently. My older one, the 11 one, yes, he absolutely can talk to anyone. And I was very, very envy of him and envy of him because I think it was last year. He needed to read something in a class. And I asked him, hey, do you want me to put a teleprompter? We'll put a green screen. I give you the microphone. You can read it. He's like, yeah, I'll do it. So I give him everything and start reading this and we're recording. And I'm looking at him like, you're 10. You made like 2 mistakes in a page and a half. When I was 10, I could barely speak. So there's a different generation. So each of them is differently, but we always kind of talk about the idea that it's okay to talk to people. You need to know when to stop. You need to know to understand your boundaries. You don't want to interrupt people during the conversation. Not always everything is working, but yes, they see it. They're listening to the podcast as well. So they hear what's happening.
Yes.
Oh, I love it. When did you start writing this book? And what was kind of the prompt of you writing it?
So in cybersecurity and in traditional technology sales, there's always this idea of team. And team will have a salesperson and an engineer. The salesperson will be in charge of the selling part, and the engineer will do the demo, whatever it is, how the system is working. And again, it's pretty much across every technology we sell that has software and hardware as well. Traditionally, the engineer will be almost like a demo monkey. I'm kind of pushing it too much. He will come, he will be she will be very, very smart, show all the buttons, don't really have to be social, don't really need to connect. The salesperson will do all this smoothing, smiling, buying lunches, and all this stuff. But stuff really changed the last 20 years. First of all, technology became much more complex. Procurement became much more complex. To sell an enterprise software to a big company, there's many hoops the salesperson need to do. There's a lot of logistics. There's a lot of documents, legal, NDAs, and many things. So what I'm going to, the sales engineer have to become more social. They have to do more selling because it became very complex. In the same time, the salesperson almost like became a procurement guru because they're not just selling. They need to understand this entire mechanism of what needs to be done for the company to buy it. And what it created a bit different dynamic. Now the engineer person that's supposed to be a bit introvert, again, there's no real rules, now have to connect more, understand more. And me as being a sales engineering work I've been doing for the last probably 10 years in the company I used to work to, I learned a lot about how you can maneuver this idea, how you can play more. So the traditional idea was to write a book about how sales engineer role changed in the selling environment. So I gave some ideas, I wrote about it, and like, I have 2 chapters, I have 3 chapters. What I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna write a blog. But with time, and it took me probably 9 months to figure out what I want to write. I wrote a proposal, I wrote a different proposal, I changed the proposal, and then I landed on my editor that told me, Evgeniy, you don't have to do publishing. You can do self-publishing. You don't have to go to a big company. I'm like, okay, so I can do whatever I want. They're like, yes, you can do whatever you want. And I started to outline what I want to do, and I realized I'm outlining the stuff I did for myself, what I learned, what I did, what helped me, what I'm telling people to do. And then it's clicked like, okay, it's not just sales engineers. could be anyone that basically in technology sales. And honestly, half of the book, if you read half of the book, there's a chapter about voice, there's a chapter about video setup, there's a chapter about fear. Like, what am I afraid to go on a call? What am I afraid to present to a president, to a board member, to a VP? What happened if I spending 10 hours a day and have anxiety right now? I'm burning out. Like, what do I do? So half of the book is basically can be applied to anyone that just working pretty much. And half of the book is very, very aligned to technical part. So stuff started to kind of click, 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 click to add and understand more. But I think the important part happened in 2022. I got an idea of the book. And I was doing a level 1 snowboard training in February. And I really liked how we connected with people. Because every time I'll go up, I'll visit someone else and I will have to talk to them. So I finished the training and I went on LinkedIn and kind of asked the community, why are we not doing cybersecurity conferences on a hill? It's such a different way. Okay, this is a very good idea. So my mind was going to, if I am bringing people that like cyber, I'm bringing people that like skiing and snowboarding, add food and beer, leave them alone, that's it. Because if I'm coming to a new place, if I'm coming to a conference in a suit, in a jacket, it's kind of intimidating to start a conversation with a stranger. But if I'm coming to a conference where I know everyone in cyber and everyone in some kind of winter sport, I can ask, hey, what do you ride? What's your favorite mountain? It's completely okay to talk with people on a hill when you go up about what they do. And then I can translate and move the conversation to cyber. And this was kind of a test about soft skills in reality. It was really good. We did later on another conference, 2024, and we're doing another one in actually a month in the summer. So this was kind of sparked the idea that yes, this can work, this makes sense.
Very good. Is it well received when you are doing the sports and the beer and the food? And yes.
We had 170 people first year, 220 second year, and we'll see in the summer. Summer probably going to be a bit smaller right now, but we'll see how it goes. Definitely different vibe, definitely different connection. After COVID, people want to network. People didn't want to sit down and listen to trainings. They wanted to talk, they wanted to chat. People stay very, very late to communicate and exchange stories.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Well, I will say that I would love to hear how much COVID and the lockdown and everything impacted everything that you've gone through. I imagine it's been a big shift because I know before COVID, I think I knew what Zoom was. I maybe got on it every once in a while. And now like almost a very large chunk of what I do is technology, and it's being in front of a screen. Never would have had a camera on, never would have done any of that stuff. And now it's just like part of the normal life. So I'd love to hear a little bit about how that.
So definitely spend time on Zooms and Teams before, but suddenly instead of flying to customers and doing consulting, now we're spending all the time on Zooms. Yeah. What interesting that I found for myself and talking to my friends, very similar to them as well. If I do a meeting face to face, I remember the person. When I do a meeting over Zoom, somehow it's not the same recollection. I don't have the psychology for this, but it's just different connection. What I also know that you'll go to a customer and you will spend a day with the customer. I'm going to be 5, 6, 12, 20 people there in the room. But in the evening, you're probably going to take the customer for dinner. Because that's the way we all sit up majority of the time. Not everybody will go. And then suddenly over the dinner, over the food, over the wine, over the beer, you just hear a completely different story of what was happening during the day. Now suddenly you're going to all the details, to all the gossips.
Yes.
And you're like, this is like a magical time. What you were trying to understand from them and kind of get the information, a bit protective, a bit not sure, but now you connect it and you get all this information. Over Zoom, it's very, very hard. Also, there was a lot of tricks, if you can say this. You come to a customer, they need to let you into a building. You have to walk with this person to the meeting room. You have 5 minutes to talk with them. So you
Mhm.
already making a connection. You can talk how was here, how did you arrive, here is your coffee, stuff like that. Or even like, hey, I'm gonna come with you at night. Would you like a coffee or a tea? You when you jump on a Zoom, there's expectation. Hi, hello, we're here to work. Let's start our meeting. It's 9:05 already. We didn't do anything. There's it's more like do. There's no small talk. There's
Yeah.
no opportunity to have side conversation that potentially not related. The, I don't know if you read the biography of Steve Jobs, but he was describing how he built the Apple building,
Mhm.
that the washroom is going to be in the middle, if I remember correctly. And it's basically require people to stand up to go to a washroom. And this way, you're going to meet other coworkers to actually have this small talk.
Yeah. It's so interesting you say that about Zoom because I teach a lot of classes via Zoom, and I'm lucky because a lot of times these students will come to where I live, and then I always tell them if you come here, you got to reach out. And so this last week I had dinner with four of my students, and I made it all. We all came together to one dinner because I'm like I'm not going to do four dinners, but we'll do it together. And they weren't in the same class, but it is you for because they reached out to me, and I was like I don't really remember them. But then when you see them in person, it's like just it's the energy, it's their height, it's their just
Mhm.
everything, the scent, the tone of their voice.
You
Just
look shorter or you look taller,
oh, and I
Exactly. Yes.
you're shorter than I thought. I'm like, well, thank you. I'm like I'm could
So
have been worse. You're older than I thought.
I have a joke for you. My niece, I think it was last year, yeah, she was grade 11. And she's like, hey, so our teacher wants us our camera to be on. I was like, okay, so what's the problem? But it's our privacy. He's like, okay.
Oh,
Like, do you have to be on all the time? No, but during the exam we have to. Like, I think it makes sense. But it's a privacy. You can see your room. He's like, it's okay, is that your room probably need to be clean or whatever it is.
yeah.
But it's intruding our privacy. I'm like, think about that. When you in a class, she still sees you. She's like, yes. So what's the difference?
It's the same. But it does create like it's a more intimate setting if it's, now my teacher knows what my bedroom looks like, right? Like that's completely different than my teacher saw me and I happen to be wearing my pajamas to class. That's different. I get that. Well, and I feel like the kids, Pam and I have talked about this a couple of times. The kids they didn't have an option, right? They had to adapt and pivot quickly because they were doing virtual and remote learning, and so it was cameras on, and I'm sure I get it from the teacher standpoint. For exams, she has to see that you're not making it an open book test.
Yes. Yes. So it's definitely changed. There's good stuff, there's bad stuff. I think the good stuff, it allows you and me to connect in this very, very easier way. While before it probably will be like, what do you mean? Recording, you need to travel, how are you gonna do this? Now you spend $100, buy a webcam, buy a USB microphone, and here you go, and you can record and meet so many different people. And I met amazingly smart and awesome people for the last 4 years on LinkedIn. And we cherished the moment when we connected physically. It was really, really good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love it.
that's so good. Well, I am going to encourage everyone to check out the book when it launches. Launch date is August
August 1st. August
August
1st. So
1st.
by the time this airs, it should probably already be out.
Yes. So grab a copy. And here's the thing, as Pam talked about, from Pam and I, we were on the online space for our coaching. We just didn't have cameras on, but we were utilizing the online space. But as we quickly adopted the idea of virtual meetings and having these conversations and interactions virtually, there wasn't really a manual that came out for etiquette or best practices and what to do. We quickly overcorrected and went to policy in a lot of spaces. Like policy is you can't do your Zoom calls from your car because it's not safe, right? But we don't talk about the etiquette. Like what happens if I'm talking to the side of your head? Am I distracted because of that? Because I think that you may not be listening or as engaged as I'd like you to be, or do I understand? you have 4 monitors in front of you, and this is how our conversation and
I'm
communication
going to
is
give you
going
an
to happen.
example, very simple
Yeah.
example. If you and me in a meeting, you may have a notebook with you, and
Yes.
you will write notes.
Yes.
I write notes all the time when we had this. But when you and me talking right now, and I do that,
That's it.
you're like, are you eating spaghetti there on the side? Like, what are you doing there?
Yes, it's true.
And it's confusing. But the easiest things to do is like, Mr. Customer, by the way, you may see me going to write because I have my notebooks and I'm writing my notes. Or you mentioned about being on video. I personally believe if we working together, we should be on video. There's other people that do it differently. But maybe I wake up today and I'm not feeling well. I still need to do my work. Maybe I am walking on a street and I need to do a video call from variety of reason, or even in the car from variety of reason. Then you can just say, hey, Mr. Customer, or whatever coaching you're doing. I usually on video, but I'm not feeling very well. I cannot be on video today, or I'm not doing that and that. And somebody told me like, yeah, but I didn't had make my hair. It's like, if you go to work, would you make your hair? If you
Yes.
go to work, would you go and shave? Like,
Yes.
so what's the difference here? And some people are like, oh, I have a baseball hat. Like, why? Because my hair is messy. Why? It's like,
Yeah.
and I remember I was talking to someone. It's like, you should invest to buy you a good microphone. He's like, no, I'm not going to pay $100 for a new microphone. I was like, why? Just too much money. He's like, if you go to work, would you buy dress shoes? He's like, yeah. How much are the good dress shoes? Like, please, 60, $100. So you will buy dress shoes, but you will not going to buy a microphone.
Mm-hmm.
It's still whatever apparel you're using at work. Could be your watch, could be your suit. So you just need a bit of a mind shifting. And what you mentioned about the screen, people don't always understand the idea that you may be looking to a different camera. You may be
Yes.
looking to a different ways. And it's just guidance, teaching, it's an experience. People want to see your eyes. People want to understand that you're talking to them because it's feel more connected.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Still having that sense of connection. That's huge. That's huge.
I know when we started coaching, we didn't have our cameras on,
Yeah.
and I always did. I was like, I have to see people's faces because
Yeah.
I need to see how they're reacting to what I'm saying. And I want to know that they're paying attention, that I have their engagement. And so I know that I was probably the only one that always had my camera on.
Mhm.
And it was funny because the person we used to coach for, we would do meetings with him and I'd come on with my camera on and he wouldn't have it on. And he's like, I'm like, I'm going to just wait until you put yours on. So, so I think I'm the bad one that changed it for everybody, but I need to see, I'm a visual person. I need to see it.
Yeah.
Same here. So I want to see your eyes nodding. I see your face nodding. Or I want to see you snoring because, I'm not,
That's it.
I'm not here.
Either one, you want to see them both.
Yeah,
See
because
them both.
otherwise, I have no
Yeah,
idea what
it's,
I'm doing.
Yes.
you know what? When I started to do public speaking, it was quite scary for many, many people.
Mhm.
And many people trying to be perfect. And what I realized with time, and do you watch Shark Tank in US?
Oh yeah.
Mhm. Yes.
Do you know who's Robert Herjavec?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So I worked for Robert for 16 years.
Oh wow.
So this is where I spent majority of my career in cybersecurity. So Robert is an amazing speaker. Like he's just phenomenal speaker. Always
Yes.
was a phenomenal speaker from I know him for 18 years. So I'm not trying to compare myself to Robert because I know I'm not going to be on his level and be smooth as Robert. And in a way, it's totally fine when you get to this point. It was always interesting to see people present on stage, make mistakes, laugh about them, and continue.
Mhm.
And for me, it's like, how will you do that? And then when I started to do more public speaking, I realized this is completely normal because the majority of the people that watching us are not perfect as well. They're actually
Exactly.
going to connect to you better if you make mistake, laugh about it, and move on. Oh, I just forgot a slide. Sorry about that. Oh, wait, did I really say this right now? And you move on. Of course, don't make like 60 mistakes in the presentation or
Right.
when you speak. You made 1 and 2, it's okay. But if you're trying to be like a robot, people are not going to connect to you, not going to feel with you. Now, if you're in Hollywood stars at a different level, again,
Yeah.
they're trained artists. We know them. It's totally fine. There's no problem. But majority of the people, and guess what? When we watch movies, we're not thinking, oh, when I grow up, I'm going to be speaking like that. Majority of us.
Yeah.
Because we just know they're on a different level. It's the same as you watching Olympics. Like, oh my God, this person runs so fast, jumps so high. It's amazing. And that's it, It's not like when I grow up, I'm going to be like that.
Exactly. So no, the big piece there, don't compare yourself to others, and also don't be robotic. Like, be authentic, know that it's okay to make a mistake if you happen to make a mistake, but be prepared, right? Just don't go out there not prepared, but being authentic. Yeah.
There's one expression I really like, and I think there's a caveat here that not everybody like the idea, but the idea of fake it until you make it. Some people say it's wrong, but the way I describe it, it's okay to fake it with the intention that you're going to fake it, but then you're going to raise to the point when you're not faking anymore. So you always bring the ladder up and then you're faking something else. But you're always moving up. Of course, you're just faking all the time and you're not trying to become this person, then it's wrong. So there is a kind of a way to do it.
Love it.
Yeah. I know there's mixed sentiments on that. I think the way that I look at it is you have to become that person that needs to be. So that future version of yourself. So you are just stepping into that. How can I step into the future version of Natalie that needs to show up in this space? And then I continue to show up that way until that's just who I am, right? So it's not faking it because I want to trick people. It's I'm going to show up as a future version of me now. And then when I arrive there, there'll probably be another updated version of me that needs to show up.
It's a very good description.
It's true. Oh my gosh. Well, Evgeniy. Oh my gosh, Evgeniy just got all tongue-tied. But there you go. You just laugh at yourself and keep going. Well, if you could share with our listeners how they can find you and stay in touch, I'd love to give you that opportunity to share that with them.
Thank you. Thank God my last name and my first name is not very common. So it's Evgeniy Kharam, Evgeniy. The first name and the last name, Kharam, Kharam, like Mary. I'm on Facebook a bit and more on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is where I usually spend majority of the time. Softsskillsattack.ca.com. This is the website for the book. And I'm sure you can link it in the notes as well. This is probably the two places. And there is, of course, going to be links to the podcast and other stuff I'm doing as well, the conference. So this is probably the two places. If somebody wants to connect, please don't be shy. If somebody wants to definitely ask how to get to cyber, please ask. I've been in the industry for a long time. Or if you have a question about a book, happy to talk about it as well.
Love it.
Love that. And Evgeniy is very active on LinkedIn. He's being modest. So he has blogs and articles that he writes and videos, and all the content is shared there. Connect with him on LinkedIn. We will absolutely add those in the show notes. Is there anything that you'd like to leave our listeners with that we didn't touch on today?
I think one point is the idea of reflection that we're all missing. So it doesn't matter what you learn, and I'm guilty sometimes, is that I'm learning something and I'm jumping to the next book, I'm jumping to the next training. And it's very important to kind of wait. Like we have a homework at school and we need to do the homework and then we need to submit the homework and we need another homework, read the homework. Like we're kind of stepping on the same idea for some time because we want the memory to get in. So if you learn something new, just kind of reflect on this for some time. Try to implement this. Try to see how it's working. Don't go and try to learn another subject before you, I'm not even saying mastering, just kind of make it part of your life a bit.
I love that.
Huge. I'm guilty of that. So I feel like you were speaking directly to my soul. So thank you.
I do want, there's one more part that I want to add. In the end of the book, there is something called a soft skills development plan. That's basically the idea when you're done, you can have a 30, 60, 90, 120 days plan, how to improve your soft skills. And of course, some stuff you may know, but if you don't know, this is kind of a guide for you to print and use. And going to be a version on the website as well, for you can buy and print to start working almost like a plan that you can reflect there as well.
Love it.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
That's a huge bonus and a tool that I think everyone should definitely incorporate. And if, again, it goes back, if you think that you've arrived and you've mastered all soft skills, then definitely set a next level of challenge for yourself. Level up, go to level 2 or level 10 or 12, whatever it is, you can keep advancing and building that.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Evgeniy. It has been an absolute pleasure. Oh my gosh. I am going to make sure that we get all of your contact information in the show notes so that our listeners can follow and keep tabs on what's going on. By the time this episode airs, the book would already have been released. So pick up a copy of the book so that you guys can start to dive into those soft skills. And as usual, if you are wanting to know what's happening in the world of Reignite Resilience, head on over to reigniteresilience.com or follow us on Facebook or Instagram, where you can see what's happening in the world of Natalie and Pam. Until next time, we'll see y'all soon. Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Reignite Resilience. We hope that you had amazing ahas and takeaways. Remember to subscribe on your favorite streaming platform, like it and download the upcoming episodes. And if you know anyone in your life that is looking to continue to ignite their resilience, share it with them. We look forward to seeing you on our future episodes. And until then, continue to reignite that fire within your hearts.